On tap, Guam Island Lager. Hi, I'm James Knott, and this is your Better Beer Authority. For those who don't know, Joby and I are brother-in-laws. Recently, our wives went to Guam for a family wedding and brought us back some Guam beer for the show. Guam USA Beer Company Island Lager is brewed in Korea by the Oriental Brewery Company, which was once owned by Inbev. It is a pale adjunct lager that comes in at 4.5% ABV and 140 calories. This 11.38 ounce can has the ingredients listed on it: malt, cornstarch, hops. Let's see what our panel thinks of this fine lager. Ryan Bell, you're helping us out today. You're a local home brewer, part of the local home brewing association. Thanks for helping out. What's initially sticking out to you about this beer?
I'm definitely picking up a lot of sweetness, both in the aroma and the flavor. Not really a whole lot else. The hops, I guess, being the last ingredient on the list, or the lowest amount, and that's certainly not really coming through. So it's not bad. It's certainly a drinkable beer, just not a whole lot of anything that really stands out for me.
Mm-hmm. Joby, we've been aging this beer, if you will, which is one of the problems of this particular beer today. Can you tell the people at home what we discovered?
Right. When we were pouring this beer, James, we discovered that it had an expiration date of sometime in early February. So, a little over 6 months over expiration, but again, it looks pretty clear for the most part. No major chunks in there, and
do you feel like it's held up?
I think it has. I don't think anybody's going to search this one out to put it in their cellar for 3 or 4 years or anything. But for 6 months in your mini fridge down here in the basement, it's done pretty well. It's still highly drinkable.
Basement? What do you mean?
Studio.
We're shooting from a top secret lair.
Bottom of a volcano.
Yeah. Jeff Wren's another local home brewer here to help us out again. Jeff, was there anything coming to you in the aroma on this beer?
The aroma, I think, to back up what Ryan was saying, there's a sweetness to it, and maybe a little bit oxidized aroma, if you will, from it being that far past expiration. But I think the sweetness is coming from the cornstarch that's in there.
Okay. Now, beyond the flavor, because, this is a pale lager. Ryan, if you were in Guam, is this kind of a beer that, hey, it's the end of a long, hot, tropical day, I'm going to go for?
Yeah, if I'm in Guam, I may also see what else they have. But if this is what's available and what's cold, I could certainly drink this on an evening in Guam.
Joby, does this remind you of any, just the typical beers that you have when you travel? There's always that.
Right. I think so. We've been to Okinawa, and it's always that, lager, the basic lager that they have around, and this fits right into them. I can't imagine that the craft beer scene in Guam is pretty impressive. So this is probably standard run-of-the-mill beer in there. And like Ryan would say, we could definitely drink these after a long day. It's got really high drinkability, so I could definitely see the big military presence over there just killing these if they're looking for something tropical. So.
Mm-hmm. Jeff, what does the cornstarch do to a beer like this?
I think, as we were talking about, it was adding to the sweetness. I was also getting a bit of a kind of a floral taste to it initially, which I think probably goes to a bit of oxidation as well. I don't think it's, as Ryan was saying earlier, the hops don't have a real strong presence in this, so it's got to be coming from the cornstarch in the extended period of time. I think that there's a little note in the background that's not quite what I would expect. But having said that, it reminds me a lot of a longboard, like you were saying, the islands. You go to Hawaii, you have a longboard lager at the end of the day. It's nothing special. It's highly
just
drinkable.
what you do.
Yeah. What you do?
It's wet and refreshing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get some Imperial in Costa Rica. Tastes like nothing, but when you're in Costa Rica,
Yeah.
it's awesome.
Exactly.
Ryan, rating summary.
I'm giving it a 5. So it's it's definitely beer. I'm not having trouble finishing this one. And if it was what was available, I would certainly drink it. I think that the as far as the summary, the touch of sweetness that we were talking about and the slight cidery character, which is, as Jeff was saying, is probably coming from their use of the cornstarch as an adjunct. I find maybe a little bit tiring. I don't know if I could have a whole ton of these with the sweetness that's coming through for me.
But if you drank a ton, you'd be in trouble.
Well, yeah. But I would be interested if, to see what the differences were from a fresh batch versus a batch that was a little bit
Aged.
older.
Well,
Right.
the boat
But
took
I mean,
a long time to get the beer there.
But I mean, as far as something that's 6 months past expiration date, I think it was probably treated better than most ones that would be of that age, being kept cold the whole time. As far as other good things that I can say about it, it doesn't have any real sulfur or the kind of real like corny flavor that I can get in some lagers that use adjuncts, and I don't really care for the sulfur, the corn flavor and aroma.
Yeah, if
and
you're
I'm
not
not
corny,
really,
look at that lei you're wearing.
well, yeah.
He's full of them today.
So
Joby, rating, and should beer geeks seek this out?
They're probably not going to, James, and I'll be surprised if a lot of our viewers have had this. Again, it's going to appeal to the non-beer geek, the non-craft beer lover. But again, because of that, it's kind of right up my alley. Being somewhat new to the craft beer scene, I still kind of look at the drinkability of beers and kind of base my rating somewhat on that. And for that, I'm going to give this a 6 because, again, it's got really high drinkability. There's nothing really standing out that's going to make it too memorable. But again, if I'm in Guam and this is all I can pick up, I'm going to pick up as many 6-packs and enjoy my stay in Guam.
Jeff, what do you think of the Island Lager? Give us a rating.
For me, it's a 5. It's certainly drinkable. I would gladly have another, but I wouldn't go to Guam or to downtown Columbus to find another one, which is a lot closer. But no, it's very drinkable. I think the thing that also took me a bit was being in a can. Sometimes you can get a bit of a can taste, and this doesn't have that, which is, shows that the can industry is doing a little better as far as linings and things. Mm-hmm. Back in the day, it would taste like metal and it'd be awful, but that doesn't show up in here, so that's good. It's very drinkable, but it's not something I'd go looking for again.
Okay. Well, not a lot of people are, because there was only one rating for this on ratebeer.com when I did the research for the show. So, hey, if you're in Guam, go out and find this beer. Guam, I love the name of this for some reason. Guam USA Beer Company Island Lager. Tongue twister. We'll call it Guam beer for short, and it gets a 5.3 on the BBA scale. Have we inspired you to head to the islands? Let us know in the comments section. Thanks for watching. I'm James Knott, and this is your Better Beer Authority.
Better Beer Authority, Better Beer Authority, Better Beer Authority.